Hey everybody, Craig Cottle, Director of Nature Line School. I have a treat for you. What I have picked up is the V2 Collective, which is a collaboration between LT Wright Knives and ESEE Knives. And what I thought I would do, instead of just giving you all the specs and laying it out there, I'll have that all in a blog piece or something of that nature. What I'm going to do is I'm going to spend a week with this knife, learning about it myself, as well as sharing some really good outdoor bushcraft skills with you over the next 5 days. So thanks for joining me. All right, so project number one, what I wanted to do was make some natural cordage. And the reason this came up is because I was clearing the road into the farm here, and I had to cut down some hickory trees. Two of these are pigneck hickories. One of them is a shagbark hickory. It's a small tree. And what I wanted to do was show you how to make some hickory bark cordage. And again, I'm going to use the V2 Collective to do all that. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Silky Big Boy to make myself a hammer. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to knock all the branches off first, and then we'll start debarking all these small trees. Hey, so what we're going to do now is I've taken the trunks of those trees. I'm going to score all the way down the length of each one of them. Then I'm going to peel that bark off, and then we'll do something next after that. Just keep in mind, if you wanted to do this in a bushcraft situation where you don't want to damage trees, again, these are trees that I had to cut down to clear up a road. If you want to just take some branches off, then you can accomplish the same task by just cutting the branches off, cut them in the collar, just as you saw me cutting those branches off in the collar of the tree. And that way it'll heal back over and you'll have a very healthy tree afterwards and not a problem. But what we're going to do is score all the way down and then peel the bark off. Hey, so what I pulled all those little pieces off for, are probably fillers down the road just to extend some of the cordage I'm going to make out. And then I'll make some longer cordage with bigger stuff here in just a minute. But what I want to do now is I don't really need the outer bark. What I want is the cambium layer of a tree, which is the bark that lays basically the vascular system that lays directly underneath the outer bark. So I'll take this back and forth, and what I'll be able to do is then pull off this outer bark. And once I do that, I'll have the cambium layer that I need to make the cordage all the way down. I'm going to do this for several of them. So keep in mind when you're working with some sort of tree bark for cordage, you want to get into that cambium layer again, but sometimes it'll be real stiff. Like these trees I thought would be more manageable. They're proving to be difficult, but that's okay. What I want to do is break the fibers down now so it's more pliable. So again, I can get all of that layer out of there. That's going to help some, but what I'll also do is I'll take it over some sort of rock or tree, or I can even put it on the back of this knife. I'll show you how to do both and break these fibers down some. Hey, just real quick word of advice. You'll see me sometimes just getting everything off here with my thumb. These again come with a really sharp 90-degree spine. And because my hands are fairly calloused, I can do that without having the danger of cutting it because my thumb is actually calloused. So keep in mind, if you just run your thumb right up the edge of that blade, it might get cut on the back, not even on the sharp side. So be careful. Because again, I already nicked myself a little bit earlier on a softer part of my hand. So always keep in mind safety as best you can. So once you get used to doing all that, basically what you want to do is you want to pull these into more manageable pieces. And what I mean is I'm just splitting these with my thumbnail. Again, if you're not used to doing this sort of thing, your thumbnails might not be strong enough to handle that, so you could use the knife again. But we're just getting this into manageable pieces, and then we're going to start wrapping them all together shortly. So this next piece, you'll notice how thin it is on the end. That works really well. And basically, I'm just going to lay it right in there on with a short tail. And sometimes I'll just weave it in there a little bit, twist that up, reverse wrap. And I've already put it in there. So twist it in, reverse wrap, twist, and you'll see that's the other piece coming down and connecting now. Reverse wrap. So twist away from me and then reverse. Twist away and then reverse. Twist away and then reverse. So now we've got a little bit longer piece. We have a short tail, and I again like to get the thin ones to somewhat weave into this guy. And then I'll twist. Oops. and then reverse wrap. So again, this right here is a splice. This right here is a splice, but you're not gonna break those. So to take that even further, what we'll do is this is basically one strand. We put these pieces together to make one strand, and you can make this as big as you want to, right? And then what I'll do is I'll use a strand like this and another one like it to create an even bigger piece of cordage. And then I can continue to make that cordage as big as I want it to. So typically, if I wanted to make something for a bow drill, for example, I would put 3 of these together, this being one of these, and then another one, and then another one. And each of those need to be long enough, you know, from your armpit about down to your hand to create that bow drill length of cordage that you'll need to be able to make a bow drill and keep it strong. Now, one of the things, I watched one of my mentors one day who was teaching me how to do this, and he made a 3-ply, just like I just described, cordage of hickory bark, and then he hung like 60 pounds of weights off of it. And one piece that I made of dog bane, very similar, I pulled up on a tree and did about a half pull up on. So this stuff is incredibly strong. So keep that in mind, really good cordage. All right, so that's day 1 with the V2 Collective. Again, it is a collaboration between LT Wright Handcrafted Knives and ESEE Knives. So as always with Nature Line School, come on, join in. Let's learn together.